Good morning, everybody, and Hag Sameach. I just wanted to say a few words about Tu B'Shvat, which today is the New Year's of the trees, and then connect it to the weekly Torah portion of Yitro, who is identified in the very first sentence of the Parsha in Exodus as the father-in-law of Moses and the high priest of the Midianite people. So first, this word about Tu B'Shvat, today is the full moon, last night and tonight, the full moon of the month of Shevat. And I'm here in Asheville, North Carolina, and the moon was just amazing last night. And in the Mishnah, 2,300 or so years ago, there's already an argument between Rabbi Hillel and Rabbi Shammai about this New Year's of the trees. And should it be on the first of this month, which would be the new moon, or the 15th, which is the Tu B'Shvat, which is the full moon. And as always, Rabbi Hillel always seems to win these arguments. And so it's another full moon holiday. And I think it's so fitting because it's a holiday, as I understand it, that really steps us into the fullness of the experience of our life, of our embodied human life, stepping into that through our relationship with the trees that are coming into fruit in the land of Israel. And the particular segue to Yitro, for me, it's kind of exciting, is that in the 16th century, so like 1600 years after this discussion in the Mishnah, the Kabbalists, the mystics, our mystical teachers from Sfat, developed a Seder, and they wrote as a way of celebrating the Tu B'Shvat holiday, and they added a whole new meaning, I believe this is from them, to what this signifies. They said that what Tu B'Shvat is, it's intended to repair the imbalance that our first human ancestors, Adam and Eve, Chava and Adam, that they brought upon us, that resulted in our expulsion from the garden and our living lives of sorrow. And that their error, they're missing the mark, wasn't that they ate from the tree of duality. It wasn't that they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. It's that they ate from that tree before they had fully entered into the consciousness and the holding, the embodiment of the tree of life. That before we can really live productive, healed human lives, in the sense of actually healing all the dualities that we live in, right? That before we can actually do that, before we humans have the capacity to wrestle with and understand duality, we've got to have this complete foundation in the essential oneness of life. So the Tu B'Shvat Seder, in that Seder, we eat all the forms of the fruit from both trees, so that we develop this consciousness and really evolve, rise up to our capacity to hold both duality and non-duality. And when I look at Parsha Yitro, and Yitro I think Torah is saying, here's a human who has achieved that. And it's a way of Torah telling us we can do this. And Moses, something that we see, a new greatness of Moses here. He goes to Yitro, he flees the Pharaoh's palace and ends up, with Yitro, because he understands that Moses understands he needs to be mentored by a wise, free elder who has mastered this capacity that we all have as humans to live in our identity, live with our people, and do it in a way that keeps us open and respectful and really open to receiving the wisdoms of all peoples. And this balance was needed in the ancient world. This is what, to me, Torah is about. And it's, of course, what we need in the world today. So the Parsha, which starts at chapter 18 of Exodus, begins right away. It identifies, the first word is he heard. And it's interesting that the Parsha is named after Yitro and not hearing, which is so fundamental to the entire Torah and to the entire Jewish path. Shema, it begins with the word Shema, he heard, but it's Yitro. They call it Yitro because it's what Yitro heard. So it begins by telling us that Yitro heard all. Yitro heard all that Elohim had done. And in that same first line, not only does it highlight that Yitro heard all, right? And contrast that to how we see the reluctance, the lack of capacity of the Hebrew people to hear all. No, we don't want to hear anything. We just want to hear it through Moses, Yitro heard all. And it also identifies in the very first line, Yitro as Moses's father-in-law and as a Midianite priest. So the very first few words of this parsha show that human beings, exemplified through Yitro, have this capacity to really take in wholeness, to take in oneness, to live from this place of, wow, that tradition has amazing wisdom. I'm going to support that tradition. I'm going to join with them. I'm going to enhance them. I'm going to root for them also. And I'm going to stay firmly rooted in my own identity, in my family as father-in-law of Moses, and with my people as the priest. And so it also, so that's just the first thing about Yitro. What a model, certainly for me, and I think for our times. So what happens when Yitro hears all? He gets up and he goes to Sinai to join the people in this momentous, in the Sinai wilderness, to be with this people. He doesn't leave himself, and he does. He doesn't leave his identity, and he does. He is like showing that we humans actually we can hold these paradoxes. And my favorite new working definition of paradox is from Parker Palmer, who I don't know if Blaze is on the call, but he's one of Blaze's teachers. That paradox is the capacity, it's like the holding of opposites, but the opposites don't cancel each other out. And for me, this is the whole path of Torah. And so what happens in this parsha that is, it's hard to say what's the most significant, but I would say the most significant in our tradition is that once Yitro shows the possibility to Moses and trains Moses, and Moses, by the way, it's a relationship. As soon as Yitro gets there, because he's heard everything that Elohim has done, Moses then tells him what Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh has done. So now there's also this coming together, right, of all the different ways that the godding energy of Torah is appearing to different people. And I love the collaboration between Moses and Yitro in terms of getting this whole full experience of all the different aspects of God. So once Yitro fulfills his mission, he goes back to his people. And I thought, oh, that's so beautiful too. Like he's a father-in-law. He's going to give space to the next generation to have their own revelation. And he's with them. He could hear everything from Midian. So that's just another beautiful, I think, door for us to let go of our fears, that if we somehow let in other people's narratives, whether it's, Israelis and Palestinians, Blacks and whites, us and our children, that we're going to lose ourselves, that we do have the capacity to hold on to ourselves as well as this openness. So after Yitro leaves, then what happens is there's the revelation at Sinai, and that is also in this parsha called Yitro. We could just talk for 3 hours about why in the parsha, where there is, what we think of as the 10 Commandments, why is that parsha? Why did the rabbis call that parsha Yitro? The main point really that I want to share about these 10 commandments, which I'm putting in quotes, and you'll see why in a minute, is just the one that's just kind of blowing my mind this year, that there's all kinds of writings in our tradition that say that what came out, what was heard, so what came out of an anthropomorphic mouth of the Holy Blessed One was signified in one utterance. It was not divided into words. That's from the Talmud, the Mechilta, from, again, this time 2,300 years ago, around the year, well, it was written down around the year 135. So when you look at the traditional translations, it says, God spoke all these words. But actually what we know, right, is that this God doesn't speak in divided words, that this is a singular entity, or a singular energy, and that it's the way we receive it, if we're lucky, is divided up into words in a language that we can actually take in. So that what was, I can't even find words really to explain, right, what happened. It's kind of, when you go out into a beautiful place in nature and there's no words, it's just all of a sudden you get, oh, this is telling me how I meant to live. Like that's what the revelation was. And this is, I think, where the whole traditional interpretation comes, that each person standing at Sinai heard the Dharma, the Torah for their life. And it was so accurately honed for each person that each person could hear it. And at the same time, we all heard the same thing. So it was it's this revelation of the fabric of the universe, that if you want to live in harmony as woven into the fabric of the universe, don't kill, right? Don't chase after false idols that will distract you and pull you away from connection. All of the aspects of the 10 that it's divided into. And yeah, so I guess I just want to bless us on this holiday of Tu B'Shvat, that if we're going to a Seder tonight, I'm going to go to Jill Hammer's Seder tonight on Zoom, or if we went to one last night, or for all of our meals today, that we take the opportunity to eat in mindfulness in a way that is actually growing our capacity to appreciate each part, like each word, each form, and also to be feeding the yearning in all life for the unification. Thank you so much. I have so much. I know I'm going to put in the chat links to my 2 blogs because it all just scratches the surface. Thank you.